You're listening to the Retrospection section, where we review terrible writing we were once proud of. Today's episode is going to feature MoebiusQuest, or MoebiusQuest. I don't
Moebius?
know. Moebius?
I thought it was Moebius, like a Moebius strip.
Oh, you're right. MoebiusQuest 2006, written by another one of our writerly friends from our NaNoWriMo writing group. I know what to expect from the story because I was this person's beta reader during our beta reading Secret Santa swap. However, this draft, he assures us, is much different, but it's draft 2 of version 1 because it's the most complete draft apparently. But it's not the whole story. Let us begin.
MoebiusQuest, sit back, relax, and cringe with us.
It had been a long day for Jonas working for Spaceport Goods. His job was to transport items from one planet to another. His day had been full. He was on his last run of the night. As he neared his destination, his eyes almost popped from his head! Exclamation mark. He saw what looked like a white hole, one of the ends of a wormhole, which is 2 black holes connecting 2 points of time and space, in parentheses, appear, obviously out of nowhere.
Is that a real thing?
I don't...
A white hole?
I don't know.
Well, let's find out. Safe search on. A white hole is, in general relativity, a white hole is a hypothetical region of spacetime which cannot be entered from the outside, although matter and light can escape from it. It's the reverse of a black hole, which can only be entered from the outside and from which matter and light cannot escape.
Interesting.
Wait, so a white hole can't be entered, but things can escape it. So how did they get there in the first place? Never mind, I'm not going to think about it.
Don't worry about it.
Mess me up. But okay, so at least it's a thing.
Yeah, IRL, the author is a, theoretical physicist, grad student. Now. Back then, 13 years ago, I imagine he was just leaving middle school. As he watched, a fleet of ships appeared. They were of a kind he had never seen before. The lead ship took aim and fired. Jonas tried to evade the shot, but the bulky transport ship was very difficult to maneuver. Nevertheless, he avoided it, but the ship fired again. This time the blast was a different color. He tried to evade this one, but as it narrowly missed him, it circled back for another pass. Too late, Jonas realized that this projectile was a seeker. The missile hit its mark and the ship exploded into oblivion. Chapter 1, Saturday. Beep, 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 beep. Zoink. Leave that. Okay.
No!
The main character's name is Zoink, which it still sort of tentatively is in the current draft, but I think he's going to change it to Connor because I can't take it seriously. Sorry.
It makes me think of freaking Scooby-Doo.
Zoinks! Zoink leaped out of bed as his alarm clock went off. Stupid alarm clock, it's Saturday. Zoink had a very late night last night. His cousin Oliver had been at his house talking on and on about how he had almost but not quite discovered a means of time travel. Zoink never understood Oliver when he talked about science. Oliver was about 5,000 technological years ahead of the people on Moebius. Oliver, age 14, who was descended from a long line of scientists whose inventions never worked, had gotten through school so quickly that Zoink thought he must have had his dad helping him. Zoink, on the other hand, was a very adventurous 13-year-old. Zoink was a huge tennis fan. He had 7 tennis rackets and more balls than you could get in the league.
Keep going, he's 13.
He had 2 courts in his backyard and 5 extra nets in the storage closet under the stairs. Zoink and Oliver...
We're not allowed to make those jokes when they're 13.
Damn it. Zoink and Oliver live on the planet Moebius. A simple planet it was. It contained water, air, land, plants, and animals.
Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. Moebius is a primitive planet, but Oliver believes, and Zoink agrees, that the planet once was very advanced, but some major event in history almost totally restarted the level of technology. The vast majority of the planet was water, with scattered islands ranging from 800 miles in diameter to 3,000 feet. That's very specific.
I know that.
Oliver has come up with a theory that there might be another planet on the other side of the sun with the exact same axial tilt, rotation, and revolution speed and orbit as Moebius, which he called Earth. So it's basically Nemesis. So far, no evidence had been found that this planet actually existed, but it was definitely possible. As Zoink lay in his bed, angered at the alarm clock for waking him up on a Saturday, he heard a strange commotion in the kitchen. What now, he thought? Not another grumpoy in the house. Oh, this happens in the recent draft. Zoink reluctantly groggled out of bed, pulled on his clothes, went downstairs and got his tennis racket to shoo the grumpoy, or whatever it was, out of the house. But it wasn't just a grumpoy, it was a huge grumpoy, about the size of a large TV. But that wasn't all. There was also a jelly glob named after its appearance, parentheses.
A jelly glob.
And they were eating all the food from the refrigerator. Zoink quickly hit them with the tennis racket. That got rid of them. As Zoink herded the animals out of the door, he glanced up and to his horror saw the village overrun with strange creatures. Kakari Village, the place where Zoink lived, was a small village on an island in the Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean.
Next to the larger Arguin Island, which contained Daylight City, the place where Oliver lived when he was not in his lab. Okay, this whole thing reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, just like the names of the cities and stuff.
Yeah.
And the island. Oliver slept in until 11:30 that morning. He was planning to take a day off from work. He got up and dressed, ate his brunch, and turned on the TV to his favorite channel, the Sci-Fi Channel. One of his favorite shows was on. It was about a team of explorers who travel to other planets via a wormhole and fight reptilian parasites that enter people's bodies and latch onto their brains, thus controlling them and trying to take over the universe. The episode was almost over when Oliver got thirsty. He went to the kitchen for a glass of water. As he was filling it up, he happened to glance out the window. He nearly spilled the water in astonishment, for Daylight City was no less affected by the beasts as Kakari. He bolted for his room and flung open the door that contained his medallions. He picked up the last one there and was about to use it to teleport to his lab when he remembered that the TV was still on. As he turned it off, he realized that Zoink would probably come to see him. Oliver had been...
At least he turns off the TV.
Oliver had been aware that this would happen. He just hadn't known when. He left a note on the door which read, Zoink, I have gone to my lab. Please stay at my house until you are refreshed and ready to embark again. You should go to the dormant volcano just east of the city. I have run out of medallions, so you need to go to the heart of the volcano. You will find a medallion there. It has been there longer than I have lived, he remembers in parentheses. It looks like this. Here, the note shows a picture of a medallion with a picture of a flame on it. Good luck. P.S. Please take my ultra-thermal defrigerator with you. With it, you can superheat or freeze things. This is hysterical.
Wait, so the medallions in the current draft, it's like they have to go on a Zelda quest for the medallions.
Yeah.
So in this, Oliver just has medallions?
I get, maybe they just
And he ran out of them?
Yeah, they're like a replenishable commodity. It's like a natural resource, maybe? Oliver then departed for his lab just in time for lunch, scene break. Zoink tried to call Oliver, but the response he got was, Oliver is sleeping, call later. Zoink tried again about a half hour later, but got the same message. He looked around. Seeing that almost all of the houses were boarded up, he left a note on the table for his family. Oh, and this one he has a family. Gone to Oliver's, be back sometime. His family was used to his being away from home for a long time, so this wouldn't make them nervous.
Okay, so he kind of has a family.
Yeah, is this, I don't know if this is the same as it is now, but in the current draft, they stop aging at 14. Or 15 or something. So in that one, I think he's kind of like, he's not like quite an adult, but like he's grown up enough now that he has his own house. But in this one, evidently he's not. Scene break. Oliver looked around in his lab. Zoink had never been to his lab. In fact, nobody had except Oliver himself. Nobody except Oliver knew the location of the lab either. It had never...
Then why did he leave a note for Zoink?
I don't know. It had never been seen from the outside by anyone except Oliver. After years of searching for it, Zoink had started to think Oliver had built his lab in a different dimension. That would be just like Oliver. The lab had no doors or windows, so nobody could see where it was if they somehow got inside. The only way to get in besides breaking in, which was virtually impossible, in parentheses, was to use a medallion. To manipulate a medallion, the user must take the medallion in both palms and gently depresses both sides simultaneously, triggering an exceptionally complicated electromagnetic reaction that can only be explained by Oliver, if anyone would ever listen, causing the user to be teleported to Oliver's lab. For safety reasons, Oliver hadn't told anyone except Zoink how to access the lab. After all, Zoink was his only favorite cousin.
What? Okay, I'm not going to question the technology of this, but if you can get in with a medallion, and the medallions are available in other places in the world, and you just activate it by squeezing it between your palms, which I've definitely done to random objects just because.
Would you just randomly teleport to his lab?
For being a super genius, that doesn't seem like the safest key for your secret lab.
Oliver,
is
you're supposed to be smart.
Objects that are hidden in random places all around the world. Anyway,
the lab had 2 couches, a bed, and of course a chemistry set, radar center, map desk, and personal desk. It also had several teleport compartments, which allowed Oliver to teleport to different parts of the world without using a medallion. Oliver soberly looked over his research on this coming catastrophe. He had concluded that the whole world, actually the whole solar system, would be affected by this. A strange threat had come from seemingly nowhere. Oliver called this menace the Disassembler because he couldn't think of anything better. That was actually the name, too.
Of course it was. Can I say that Oliver is awful?
I hate him. Oliver sat straight up like he always did when he had just hit on something important. The fire medallion, an unknown threat, cities overrun with beings Oliver concluded were from another planet, beings that had never been discovered before a few days ago. This could only mean one thing. Time travel was definitely possible, but he needed more information. Then a second idea hit him like one of Zoink's tennis balls served from half-court. The fire medallion. Of course. Another thing Oliver had been working on was space travel. The thought of traveling to other planets, even other solar systems or galaxies, was overwhelming, and seemed impossible to all but Oliver. The medallion, and others like it, must be the key to where the disassembler resided, no doubt, on another planet. If Oliver were to find the disassembler's base, he would need the element medallions.
Okay, can I just say, I thought Zoink was supposed to be the main character, but so far Oliver is the only one with any, like, agency or sign of a plan, and I kind of hate him.
He pretty much is in the current one, too. Like Zoink is kind of just this kind of, like,
there.
ditzy, like, he's not super smart, and Oliver is, like, the only one that he knows literally, like, everything, and then Zoink is just like, oh, I guess we're going to outer space now. Zoink just does things
Oliver
because they're fun.
In this one is just, like, he concluded they were from outer space, and also no one has the technology to go to outer space except this random 14-year-old who has a secret lab safeguarded by these random elemental medallions that apparently anyone could pick up out of a volcano. He knows everything.
Yeah.
And he can teleport to various places on the planet, and I hate him.
Yeah.
Like, because I can just see him being the plot device.
Yeah.
I foresee anything that happens in this novel Oliver will solve with a piece of random technology he's created.
Oh, yeah. That definitely 100% happens. Scene break. Zoink left the village and entered the old forest, in which lived monkeys, spelled M-U-N-K-E-E-S, also in the current draft. Leafy gulps, in quotes, and, quote, firemen, unquote. These are not their scientific names, but Zoink can never remember the scientific names, so he just calls them what they look like. Monkeys are white and furry. They are kind of like primitive people in that they build houses in trees and they don't have any technology, parentheses, and they look surprisingly like the monkeys of Earth, parentheses.
Isn't building houses technically a technology?
Yeah.
Like, technology doesn't necessarily just mean gadgets.
You are 100% right. And also, if Earth is theoretical at this point, how does he know that they look like monkeys on Earth?
I don't know.
Leafy gulps are big round predators that have antennae/horns on their heads that look like branches with leaves on them. They hide in the underbrush, waiting for something or someone to walk by, and then they pop out and go and gulp. That is how they got their name.
I actually love that. It sounds like a Pokemon, honestly.
I was about to say that. Like, I literally almost said it reminds me of, does it have gulp? It has gulp in the name.
Gulpin? Because that's a Pokemon!
Yeah, no, I know. But I don't know.
I don't know, but I actually love Leafy Gulp.
Me too. Firemen look like fireballs with arms and legs, not to mention they burn you half to death. Or completely.
Okay. Ominous.
It was for those three reasons that nobody ever came into the forest on foot except for those foolish adventurous people. And it was for those three reasons that Zoink proceeded cautiously.
And then Zoink did it anyway.
Always aware of the slightest movement, whether in the treetops or the leaves on the ground. Twice he surprised a leafy gulp but was never touched. He was listening for noise so intently that he lost sight of the path. He decided to just turn around and go back. But going back in a straight line is no easy task in a forest, and Zoink was heading deeper and deeper into it. God, Zoink, you idiot. Finally tired and bored.
That sounds fake to me. I mean, I grew up in a super, like, foresty area of Oregon, so maybe I'm just used to trees.
We're very opinionated about forests over here in Oregon.
Look, they're everywhere.
Right? I feel you. I feel you for sure.
I get mad about this in movies.
I definitely am with you there. I guess if you've never been in, like, a real forest, it would be confusing. But a true Oregonian, as we know all Oregonians were born in a forest.
Right?
All Oregonians own a forest.
Can confirm.
Anyway, finally tired and worn, he sat down on the forest floor and rested, trying to decide which way to go from there. Zoink woke up to the sound of thunder in the distance. He decided to try to find some shelter from the rain. In his haste, he forgot to listen for creatures.
Chapter 2. Reactions. On a planet whose name is not yet known, the leader of danger, ruler of night, master of darkness, the disassembler, was watching the strange boy run through the forest. I thought he was on Earth. His first thought was the kid was going home. But on second thought, he remembered that nobody lives in the direction he was taking. Why does the disassembler know this?
I don't know, this is
from this other planet.
This is like the scene in The Rangers where they're like, it's Evan and Otto, and they're like bad guys now. And then Evan's like rubbing his hands together menacingly, and then he's like, "Can I turn on the heater, please?"
Could he possibly be looking for the 7 medallions that would unlock his lair, the element medallions?
Oh my god.
You're on another planet! Why do you care about this?
Oh my lord.
He couldn't risk it. Durgna, he commanded. Tell my minions to guard the medallions. But I am one of your minions, came the reply. Why do, like, young teenagers' novels always have such, like, surprisingly good villain banter?
I don't know. It's great.
Like, that's actually genuinely funny.
Yeah,
but I am one of your minions. I know that, the disassembler stormed. I know you're my first lieutenant, and I'll give you the job of protecting the Medallion of Darkness. I'll let you decide who guards the rest of them. Yes, sirree, Bob, Durgna sang. My name is not Bob. But Durgna was already out the door. Okay, that part's not surprisingly good. Scene break. Oliver called Zoink's house. Bob answered the phone. Zoink had twin brothers, Boink and Doink, shortened to Bob and Don, age 18. How did those shorten?
This is horrible.
So, is Zoink's nickname Zob or Zon? I hate that.
Wait. Where is his younger sister, Yoink?
Do you mean Yob or Yawn? Alright, so Boink Bob is answering the phone. Bob here. Hi, this is Oliver. Is Zoink there? No, but there's a note on the table saying he'll be back sometime. Italicized. Okay, thanks. I'll try my house. See ya. But all Oliver got at his house was a recording. Oliver is in his lab. Please leave a message. Does he change his message throughout the day?
Probably.
Before I thought it said he was in bed.
Yeah. Maybe they're like timed.
Please leave a message after the beep. Thank you very much. Beep! Oliver tried Zoink's cell phone, but it didn't seem to be on. Blast it all, he mumbled. Then he saw something that made him start. The radar map showed bogies. Parentheses. Look it up in the dictionary. Oliver cannot explain right now. Traveling to all the medis. Parentheses. Or medallions if you prefer. Gosh, do I prefer.
I hate.
I'm never saying that again as long as I live.
Me too.
He had to warn Zoink somehow. Scene break. Zoink hurried through the dense forest. Then suddenly he heard it. The sound of a fireman. No, a bunch of firemen. I'm just imagining the sound of fire trucks coming after you.
Or just like
wee-oo.
Really angry.
He ran faster, but was quickly surrounded. Crackling gleefully, the firemen closed around him in a tight circle, forcing him to go wherever they went. I'm still just imagining normal firemen and like their gear, their hats. I love this mental image.
They're just like, you're coming with us.
After 5 minutes of this, they came to a clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a cave. Zoink did not know much about animals, but he knew that firemen catch their prey and take it to a fire forest cave. Once there, the fire and firemen would all burn their victim to death and then eat the ashes.
Oh my god.
Okay. The firemen probably had not had human ashes to eat in months.
Oh lordy.
Well, that just took a turn.
Jeez.
They stopped at the mouth of the cave. A lone fireman entered. After about half an hour, he emerged. This is gonna be a real boring wait.
I know, he's like, okay.
Like, I'm gonna die any second. Any second now. He'll come back sometime. Eventually I'll die. Anytime. Starts like checking his watch. He's like, guys, can we do this later?
Like, can you hurry it up, please? Like, I have places to be.
Zoink tensely waited for the fire four to appear. He was as curious as he was scared. He'd never seen a real fire four before. Parentheses. You see, they are quite hard to come by and survive at the same time. What does that mean?
Nobody's ever seen one and lived.
A hideous roar issued from the mouth of the cave. The suspense was killing Zoink. At least, he thought wryly, if I die from suspense, it'll be better than toasted.
Oh my god.
We were right!
Yeah.
At that moment, the fire four emerged, fire raging on its back, head, and horns. In parentheses. In fact, it may be safe to say that the beast was covered in flame. Its dragon tongue whip uncoiling from its hand. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What?
You know what this is?
What?
I'm gonna send you a picture
Okay.
that you definitely have to put on, like, the cover of the episode or something.
What the fuck? Is that from The Hobbit?
Yeah, so it's the animated Lord of the Rings from, like, the 70s. That is the Balrog.
Oh my god.
Things that Gandalf fights in the Mines of Moria that, like, pulls him down.
Oh shit. That's funny.
So that is the 70s animated one.
You shall not pass!
Anyway.
Okay.
Now that we're done with that tangent, strong arms it had, and strong legs also.
Okay.
The creature stood hunched over, yet it was still much taller than Zoink. It lunged at Zoink. At that very moment, it started pouring! As the firemen went out around him, Zoink leaped to the side to avoid the fire four. Due to the rain, the creatures died!
Oh shit!
Zoink breathed a sigh of relief.
If that ain't a Deus Ex Machina, I don't know what is.
Well, big oof for them.
Yikes.
Then he noticed a map and compass carved on a marble slab on the ground just inside the cave. Convenient.
Okay.
He saw that he could just go east and he would reach the sea in no time, so he started out. Why do they live so close to the sea? The rain just killed them. Why did they live so close to the sea?
Oh, man.
Is there not moisture in the air?
No moisture.
I'm so frustrated by that.
Me too.
The rest of the trip through the forest was uneventful. When Zoink emerged from the woods onto the beach, he saw that he was only about a quarter mile from where he kept his scuba gear hidden. He went and found it, deciding that as his clothes were already soaking, he wouldn't bother to change into his wetsuit and carry his cloths all the way to the mainland. He donned his oxygen tank and face mask and waded into the surf. By now the storm had passed, so he didn't have to worry about being electrocuted by lightning. However, he didn't like the thought of swimming across the ocean with all of the creatures that lived there. If Zoink remembered right, the distance from the island to the mainland was about 3.5 miles at high tide. It was low tide at the time, so Zoink didn't have to travel as far. How low does your low tide get? When he reached the drop-off, he crawled down the side so that he wouldn't be as conspicuous to sharks. When he got to the floor, he swam along as close to it as possible, always keeping the mainland in sight. Scene break. Durgna was annoyed. Each of the disassembler's minions wanted to guard the best medallion. He eased off the tension by telling them that the one who guards one of the first medallions would probably get to kill the kid. Parentheses. Sure, Zoink was no longer a kid, but give them a break. They are probably only a few hundred years old.
What?
He pondered this for a while, and then appointed the Molten Magnet as guardian of the fire medallion. Yeah, that seems pretty appropriate.
That's apt.
Scene break. About 4/5 of the way to the mainland, Zoink thought about the things that had happened that day. He thought about how one thing led to another, which led to another, and so on, and it was not even lunchtime. Nothing has happened to you today, Zoink, except for those firemen. Everything else, happened to Oliver.
Yeah.
In the midst of all his thinking, he was less aware of his surroundings. All of a sudden, he saw an electric eel swim by. He held perfectly still, not wanting to seem to pose a threat to the eel. He watched it carefully as it swam around him. The eel swam around, but didn't swim away. Then he watched helplessly as the eel was joined by another, and another. He too late realized that he was in an electric eel nest. They swarmed all around him.
This is so painful.
It will be if he gets stung.
Oh god.
He decided to make a break for higher water, despite the risk. In doing this, he excited the eels. 3 of the eels let out a zap that, when combined, put out 1,800 volts of electricity, 3 times as much required to drop a horse.
Do you know what that sound is, Highness?
Those are the shrieking eels.
That's what I was thinking of, but I wasn't going to say it. As the electricity traveled through Zoink's body, his pocket knife snapped open and made a deep cut in his thigh.
What?
As his consciousless body floated into open water, his wound bled. And everyone knows what blood does when you are in shark-infested waters. ...
Oh my god, wait, is it his left or his right? One has an artery and I'm worried he's gonna bleed out and die. That'll be a very short
obviously
book.
he's not going to die because he's the main character, even though he's done nothing.
God, please,
except get
let him
captured
die.
by various animals. Legit, nothing has happened to him yet.
Zoink, I hate you. Chapter 3, The Mainland. Oliver, diligently working on his self-appointed task, suddenly remembered something he had forgotten to tell in the letter he left for his cousin. The former desperately had to commune to Zoink that the latter was in danger. Whoa. That sentence just, gave me an ulcer. He tried radio communicating. Nothing. He considered his possibilities. There was a bell tower in Daylight City. There was a Talea in the volcano. He was getting somewhere. I just read the next part and I'm very confused.
Too.
The shark's brain went, hungry swim, blood, in all capital letters.
No, you got a shark voice, man. Hungry swim, blood!
No.
Hungry shark, do. Hungry shark, do. Hungry swim, do. Hungry swim, do. Blood!
Oh, okay, no, that's not the shark voice. Sharks are Australian, everybody knows that.
Fish are friends, not food.
Hungry swim, blood! Though a mile away, the smell of the blood still knocked the shark into a frenzy. It swam faster than it had in ages. This was a real treat, because there was not another shark around for miles.
Oh!
That's so tragic.
That's sad. I feel for this lonely shark. Lonely shark, do. Lonely shark, do.
Zoink had a sense of urgency. He was still unconscious, but he was fully aware of danger. Just what kind of danger was a different question. He desperately willed himself to awaken, but it was taking far too long. He became halfway conscious, but then became wholly awake when he perceived a shark hurling through the water, full speed, directly toward him.
I hate the word hurling.
Me too.
Because, okay, I don't know other regions, but I know around here we use it as, a colloquialism for throwing up.
Yeah.
There's definitely places that don't say that.
Or
there's definitely places that don't say upchuck. And I know that also means throwing up. And
I had never heard the word, George.
Oh, yeah, I got George.
Until, recently, and I don't know, anyway.
I read a book where someone said that when I was a kid, and I thought it was hilarious. Gotta toss my cookies! Toss my cookies is probably my favorite one.
My favorite one is from the Princess Diaries, where she's like,
cover the tuba!
Oh, yeah!
Also, in addition, hurl can mean, to yeet.
To throw.
Yeah, yeet.
Do not use yeet as a definition of something.
To
Come
yeet.
on.
That's why when I was earlier, his younger sister, Yoink, it reminded me of a Tumblr post that I saw. It was Yoink is the opposite of yeet, and then the next one was the Lord yeeteth and the Lord yoinketh away.
Yoinketh away. I'm gonna yeet you out of this channel.
Please don't. I'm gonna yeet this story. With nothing to defend himself with except a lousy knife, Zoink dove out of the way. He was several seconds early, but the shark was moving so fast it could not change direction in time. It missed him by inches. He desperately tried to devise a way to evade it again while it was traveling at a much lower speed. As the Stark turned for just fucking Robert Downey Jr. just hurtling through the water.
Tony Stark, Why does everything fit in the shark song?
I hate it. As the shark turned for another pass, Zoink remembered the oxygen tank on his back. He got into position, took a deep breath, whipped out his knife, and cut the cord connecting the tank to his mask. If he's already past the drop-off, I feel like the pressure would kill him.
Yeah.
As the air blew out under the high pressure, it hit the shark square in the mouth, at the same time propelling Zoink out of the way. The shark confusedly swam away, not wanting to confront a being with such power.
What? I got bonked in the nose.
He got booped in the snoot.
I'm going home.
If you keep complaining, I will hit you right in the lip. Just taking a quote right out of Shining Radar's book.
Okay, I was like, what is that from?
You were the one who was like, I'm gonna say that to you, and then you never did. Zoink kicked his legs, desperate to reach the surface before his lungs burst. His wound stung painfully. He was 5 feet away when he could not hold his breath in any longer. He let it out, then determined to reach the surface before he breathed in again. He gave one last forceful shove. Less than a foot away, he started to take a breath. Most of it contained air, but he also got a little water in his lungs.
That seems backwards.
Yeah.
Most of it contained water, but he also got a little air in his lungs.
Even a small amount of water can be dangerous. After coughing up the water, he started to swim the rest of the way. He had to swim on the surface because he had severed his oxygen cord. After several minutes, he came to the mainland. 10 minutes later, he found Oliver's... It's bird o'clock.
It is bird o'clock.
10 minutes later, he found Oliver's house.
5 after the hour, it's bird o'clock.
Hell yeah. He found Oliver's house. Tired and weary, he knocked, but then he saw the note, asterisk. Too exhausted to be enraged, Zoink entered, taking the message with him to decipher while reclining comfortably on a couch. He soon drifted into sleep. I love Oliver's gonna come back in and be like, why is my house sopping wet? Scene break. He woke up refreshed but hungry. He was surprised to see that his leg injury did not need tending. The real reason behind this is that salt water helps to close wounds. After one of the best sandwiches he had ever eaten, he fell asleep once more. It helps to sterilize wounds, maybe?
That's why you pee on jellyfish stings, because the salt and the water in your urine heals injuries. True facts.
Today we're going to learn true facts about the Zoink. The Zoink is a stupid creature who has no idea what he's talking about.
That's why every time someone loses a limb, the doctor just whips off their pants and pees on it. Because that helps wounds heal. Salt water. And there is salt and water in your pee.
Oh, man. Okay. After one of the best sandwiches he had ever eaten, he fell asleep once more. When he woke up again, he noticed that due to the ocean, his radio had become waterlogged and would not work. He tried using Oliver's home radio to call the laboratory, but quickly discovered a number combination must be entered to call anyone. He fell asleep.
Did you mean a phone number?
Scene break. When Oliver was 7, he had already conceived a passion for science. He was so successful that once while he was outside performing experiments, his father, desperate about not executing any working experiments, decided to try Oliver's method of experimenting. He tried a little one. Because it was successful, he tried another and another. Surprisingly soon, he got so carried away that he tried a super experiment. The result was the house exploding right in front of Oliver just as he was coming back. In remorse, Oliver had built a laboratory.
What? I'm so confused.
Is this supposed to be a tragic backstory? Because it's not coming across like that.
I think so. So does that mean his dad died?
Yes.
When the house exploded? Is this like a Luna Lovegood backstory?
Yeah, it's a super experiment. Clearly super experiments are really dangerous, whatever they are.
Scene break.
Oh god. When Zoink woke up, he felt tired and hurt. He sickened at the thought of the mission ahead. He had glimpsed the volcano from the edge of the city before, but since the pathway up was guarded, he had never been any closer than 2,000 feet. Oliver had once said that there was another way up besides the path, but the climb from there was almost vertical. Zoink went to the east edge of the city and circled the mountain. He looked all around the volcano, which took several hours, but did not find it. As he puzzled over this, he remembered that Oliver had told him of a landmark that marked the beginning of the trail. It was a boulder balanced on a needle-like point. He had not seen it. He decided to look again. As he searched, he saw a needle-like rock, but no boulder on top of it. However, there was a boulder on the ground, blocking the entrance to a path that immediately sloped upwards. The boulder had obviously fallen off the needle rock. This was a puzzling obstacle.
Climb around it! There's a whole mountain!
Zoink tried to think. Surprisingly, he succeeded.
Oh! That's both a big mood and really sad.
He pointed the defrigerator at the rock. Setting it to superheat, he pulled the trigger, asterisk. The rock quickly melted away, but now he was faced with a puddle of lava. No problem. He simply super freezed it and had a perfectly smooth path entrance in front of him.
I hate that.
Me too. He started the ascent. The climb did not last as long as most mountains, because this one was small.
That's such a sentence.
Every sentence I read, I just have to laugh. However, it did take a long time due to all the stops he took to rest and the obstacles he encountered. He had been climbing for hours, and the top seemed as far away as ever. But then he came to an opening in the side. It was so well concealed that someone would have to know exactly where it was, and then would not be able to see it unless he was practically already in it.
It's an island that cannot be found except by those who already know where it is.
Did you mean every island in media ever?
Hella. Zoink stopped and caught his breath. After he had done that, he started in. Since it was dark, he used the defrigerator to melt some of the rock in the walls every so often. Because when the metal or rock gets extremely hot, it gives off light. Still, it was difficult to see.
Chapter 4. The chapters now have no names. The boy awoke enveloped in fear due to total amnesia. He got up feeling sore all over and left the small room he was in. Looking around, he realized that it was the cockpit of a spaceport goods transport ship.
Oh, it's the guy from the first chapter.
Jonas!
Yeah.
That was all of the ship that he could see, for the rest had been blown to pieces. He read the outside of the it. Spaceport goods transportation. Transport ship number 13. Notice. If you are to find anyone who wishes to work for Spaceport Goods, make sure they are at least 15 years old, and if they are, you may give them this number. And then a note, redacted in 2018. So I assume that means, being a kid, he used his own number or something?
Yeah.
Probably. Oh, man. That is the fanciest way to say, now hiring, please call blank.
Right?
That told him that he was at least 15. He felt his pockets. Nothing. He started to walk. He did so until he came to a swift river. He started to walk through it, but as soon as his foot touched the water, he decided against it. Nope. So he followed it upstream until he came to a cave. He ventured inside. The cave crawled with spiders, but he did not see them, so he kept walking.
Ew, that's creepy.
That's hilarious. I actually love that detail was pointed out.
Yeah, me too.
That's such a good, atmosphere thing.
Yeah.
Scene break. Zoink came to a fork in the tunnel. He could go right or left. He placed the defibrillator on the ground and spun it. When it stopped, it was pointing to the left path. So he took the right. And then he goes right. Little did he know what he would soon be up against. Scene break. Oliver knew he had to reach his cousin. His studies of the Talaya in his possession had led him to the making of his return system.
What?
The studies of the Talaya in his possession had led him to the making of his return system. I don't understand.
Me neither.
In other words, he created a way to leave his laboratory. He called it a transportal. It was simply a means of quick travel by portal to any place the receiver was set up. However, he only had receivers set up at his and his cousin's houses, and a few other places. Oh, how could he warn Zoink about the creatures? Unless... ... Scene break. Jonas walked through the cavern until he came to a door. He must have been hundreds of feet below ground and miles from his starting point. On it, he read an inscription. This is all italicized. Inside lay many treasures great and old, but one is worth much more than gold. Once this item had great fame, and Migrandir was its name. Migrandir, the water medallion, could tame even the most fierce Gussalin. Water it flowed, and the metal will never grow old.
Okay.
You know, for being like a middle school age, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, it's not, I've seen worse.
I've seen worse prophecies in books.
Okay, so Chase is transcribing the sequel to A Vox Treachery, right? And he sent some kind of prophecy. Hold on, I gotta search for it. Because this is gonna be, we're gonna do a little, sneak peek at the next episode. Here it is. One day a cat will lay upon a mat, but hey, ice comes on the mat. The entire world freezes. That's the prophecy.
Okay, well.
Oh, shit.
All right. 1 point for MoebiusQuest.
Yeah.
Now, Jonas did not know what potential this had or what a Gussalin was.
Me neither.
Yes, he could read it. However, he did not remember what a door was. He ran into it. He punched it. He did everything he could think of until he saw a doorknob. He punched it this time, and it turned with the force. The door, however, did not open. It was stuck. I love this part. This is genuinely hilarious.
This is amazing.
Oh, jeez.
Shit.
He saw a keyhole next, and with it, these words. Italics. To open this door, one needs a key. For this, one must crawl on bent knee. Inside, monsters have slept, and the families of all who entered wept. Okay, yeah.
That's not too horrible.
Not terrible. Now, this would be frightening business for anyone who knew what most of these words meant. But Jonas remembered naught of these things, and he could not decode the words. He slumped to the floor with a sigh. Inside lay many treasures great and old, but one is worth much more than gold. Once this item had great fame, and Migrandir was its name. That sounded like something beautiful to him, but he had given up. The medallion might never be found.
Wow,
he just punches the door, and then he sees the doorknob, and he's like, and punches the doorknob. Oh, scene break. Zoink stopped dead in his tracks. Before him, he saw a fire beast. Now 2, no, 3. The place was crawling with them, and where there were fire beasts, there was a fire queen.
Oh.
Here was one now. How he wished he had a friend with him. A fireflyer saw him and raised the alarm. All of them surrounded him. Not again, he thought! Literally everything is Zoink gets captured by various wildlife. Now there would be no escape. Water could not reach this desolate place. The heat was too intense, and the water would quickly evaporate.
There is no water in this air!
The best time for an Incredibles reference. Of course, the ultra-thermal defibrillator. How could he be so stupid as to forget that? He'd been using it the whole time to light his way through the darkness. He reached into his pocket and pulled it out. He pointed at the Fire Queen and froze it solid. The fire disappeared, and its eyes dimmed. However, it was still alive, and it would soon melt its way free. Now the fire beasts were mad. He froze one, then another, but it was too overwhelming. He ran, for his life depended on it. Scene break. Jonas walked around in circles. Think! The door was in his way, and he didn't even know what a key was. What he did know was that the approaching spider did not look friendly. He ran. He had to find a place where this creature couldn't follow, and fast. Of course, there was no such place.
Oh my god. Shit.
Fear!
Oh god.
That's really ominous.
Yeah, it is.
Scene break. Oliver worked quickly. As he glanced at the, quote, advanced sundial, as he called it. A clock? He realized Zoink must already be in the volcano, and that would mean he would soon get hurt, or die, or concentrate. Yes, Oliver had to concentrate. He could not help his cousin by worrying. He had to get a transmission to the mountain. He pulled out the circuit board. A little charge here, a little adjustment there, ...
Join us next time on the Retrospection section for more really, really bizarre stuff, some surprisingly good comedy, and some mediocre prophecies.